Hello. Since you're collecting all kinds of weird encounters, I figured I have one to share too. I wasn't planning on sharing this. I'm not one for dramatics. But lately I keep having these episodes. Nightmares, you could call them. And they were all involved that day in the woods. So maybe by putting it into words, I can finally shake it off. Looking back, it seems crazy I ever went in the first place. It was April 12th, a beautiful spring day. The city was getting to me, the constant honking and the never-ending stream of people. I craved some fresh air, a chance to escape the concrete jungle for a bit. Black Rock Forest always seemed like a good option. Brochures promised stunning scenery, well-marked trails, and a close enough distance for a day trip. Perfect for a stressed-out city girl like me, right? Wrong. The moment I stepped onto the trail, a strange feeling washed over me. It was like the silence was too loud, the air thick and heavy. The brochure made it seem like a popular spot, but I didn't see a single soul the entire time. For the first couple of hours, I brushed it off, enjoyed the solitude, snapped some pictures of the pretty wildflowers, and the whole reconnect with nature thing. It was peaceful, almost eerie in its quietness. Then, just as the sun reached its peak, it happened. A scream, blood-curdling, raw, and way too close for comfort. My heart hammered against my ribs and I froze. It sounded human, filled with pure, primal terror. And my first instinct was to run, to get as far away from the source of that horrifying sound as possible. But then shame washed over me. What if someone was hurt? What if they were lost and needed help? Stupid, I know, but I couldn't just leave someone there, could I? Logic took a back seat to a strange sense of obligation. I couldn't just leave someone there, could I? Taking a deep breath, I veered off the marked trail, following the direction of the scream. Bushes scratched at my clothes. Fallen branches snagged my backpack. The further I went, the denser the forest became, the sunlight struggling to penetrate the thick canopy of leaves overhead. The forest floor grew treacherous underfoot, a tangle of roots and damp leaves hiding uneven ground. Panic gnawed at the edges of my calm. What if it wasn't a human? Mountain lions could scream, right? The brochures probably mentioned that, buried somewhere under the idyllic descriptions. Yeah, that must be it. No need to go full Rambo in the middle of nowhere. So the reason finally won. Shame or not, I couldn't justify venturing deeper into the woods alone. With a shaky breath, I decided to head back to the marked trail. I figured if someone was truly hurt, someone else would eventually hear the scream and find them. Besides, I had marked the spot on my crumpled park map. If I saw a ranger on my way out, I could let them know about the scream and my attempt to find the source. The sun dipped lower in the sky, casting long, ominous shadows across the forest floor. Panic started to gnaw at the edges of my calm. I wanted to be back at my car before darkness fell. The thought of navigating the woods blind with only the fading light terrifying. Picking up the pace, I practically jogged through the undergrowth, my eyes frantically searching for the familiar markers of the trail. Then, it ripped through the air again. The scream. But this time it sounded different, distant, almost faint, like it was carried on the breeze. I stopped, heart hammering against my ribs, and listened intently. The sound wasn't close enough to warrant immediate action. A strange sense of relief washed over me. Maybe it was just someone lost, miles off the trail, their panicked cry echoing through the vastness of the forest. Nothing I could do about it now. Pushing forward, I convinced myself it wasn't a big deal, just a coincidence. Except a few minutes later, there it was again, the scream, even further away this time. But for some reason, this distant cry sent chills down my spine like never before. It felt wrong. How could a scream, so faint, elicit such a primal terror? An inexplicable urge to document everything took hold. Pulling out my phone, I fumbled with trembling fingers, finally managing to activate the video recording function. A stupid idea, I knew, but a gut feeling gnawed at me. As I walked, my eyes darted back and forth, searching for the source of the sound. The woods seemed to hold their breath, the silence even more oppressive than before. And then I saw it. On the edge of the screen, barely visible through the dense foliage, there was a movement. A flicker of black against the backdrop of green. It was massive and unlike anything I'd ever seen. It stood on its hind legs, towering over the trees. It was wolf-like, but monstrously large, its form twisting and warping in the grainy phone screen. So what was it? A monstrous wolf? An aberration from a nightmare? Before I could scream, the creature opened its mouth, and the scream ripped through the air. The same scream I'd heard before. And once again it felt like it was coming from far away. But the creature was right there behind me. Terror took hold. Without a single thought, I sprinted towards the trailhead, my lungs burning and legs screaming in protest. I reached my car, stumbled inside, and locked the doors as fast as my trembling hands would allow. Peeling out of the parking lot, I didn't dare look back. The drive back to the city was a blur. I barely registered the traffic, the neon lights, the bustling crowds. My mind was trapped in the woods, replaying the events, searching for answers. I don't know what that thing was, but I'm never going back to Black Rock Forest. There are some screams you shouldn't ignore, of course, but now I know screams can be very deceiving too. I'm safe now, shaken but all right. But there are things in those woods, things I can't explain. The worst part? The closer the scream seemed, the further away the creature actually was. And when the scream was a faint echo, it was right behind me. What is up, guys? Mr. Shadow Whisper here. Thanks for sticking with the video. If you enjoyed it, consider leaving a like and subscribing for more. I always appreciate your feedback. So leave a comment below and let me know what you thought. And if you have a story you'd like to share, there's a link to my email in the description box.